Have you ever wondered why some moments of intimacy stay burned in your memory? Not just because of what happened, but because of how they made you feel? The kind of connection that leaves you thinking about it days, weeks, even years later. That's not an accident. That's the power of emotional and physical alignment when two people connect not just through touch, but through presence, awareness, and trust. In today's talk, we're diving into something that's often misunderstood, what really makes a woman feel deeply connected, seen, and yes, even addicted to you in the healthiest, most powerful way. It's not about dominance or control, and it's definitely not about performance. It's about understanding how the body and mind communicate during intimacy, how small gestures, a touch, a look, a pause can send messages that go straight to the heart. We live in a world that talks endlessly about technique, but rarely about connection. But true passion doesn't come from memorized moves. It comes from being present, from knowing how to read energy, how to respond to emotion, and how to make your partner feel safe enough to let go completely. When that happens, the experience becomes unforgettable, not because of what you did, but because of how you made her feel. So stay with me until the end of this video because by the time we're done, you'll see intimacy in a completely different light. You'll understand the science behind touch, the emotion behind pleasure, and the psychology behind connection. Most importantly, you'll learn how to create experiences that don't just satisfy but deeply bond. This is about becoming the kind of partner who understands not just how to please, but how to connect, how to communicate, and how to truly make her feel desired, safe, and addicted to the energy you share together. Touch is one of the oldest and most powerful forms of communication between two people. Long before words, touch conveyed emotion, safety, desire, and connection. In intimacy, it becomes more than a physical act. It is a language of energy and understanding that can completely change the emotional landscape between partners. The human body responds to touch in profound ways. When skin meets skin, the body releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which creates feelings of trust and closeness. At the same time, gentle or intentional touch lowers cortisol levels, easing anxiety and allowing the body to relax into pleasure. This isn't just romance or chemistry, it's biology. The body literally interprets caring touch as a sign that it is safe to let go. When a person feels that safety, the mind and body sync in a way that deepens every sensation. The heartbeat slows, breathing steadies, and the senses sharpen. This is why a touch, when done with awareness and care, can feel electric. It's not only stimulating nerves, but also awakening emotional circuits. In an intimate setting, especially during physical closeness, touch sends a message far stronger than words ever could. I'm here, I see you, I want you to feel good. That emotional recognition transforms physical contact into connection. The psychology of touch goes even deeper. Studies in neuroscience show that the human brain associates consistent, positive touch with comfort and attachment. Over time, this builds not just attraction, but trust. When someone learns to anticipate a partner's touch as something that brings pleasure and emotional reassurance, their body begins to crave it instinctively. This is how physical connection can evolve into emotional addiction, not in a harmful sense, but as a reinforcing loop of affection, safety, and satisfaction. In a relationship, this kind of connection through touch becomes vital. It teaches the brain and body that intimacy is not about performance or perfection, but about presence. A light stroke on the back, a steady hand on the hip, or a reassuring squeeze can convey stability and desire all at once. It shows emotional intelligence, an ability to sense what the other person needs in that moment. Many people underestimate how much a well timed, mindful touch can heighten pleasure and deepen emotional intimacy. The reason this works so powerfully is because the body's largest sensory organ, the skin, is also one of its most emotionally responsive. Every nerve ending on the skin communicates with the brain, creating sensations that combine physical feeling with emotional meaning. When touch carries genuine care and attention, it activates the parts of the brain linked to reward and attachment. The experience becomes more than physical, it becomes emotionally fulfilling, memorable, and grounding. So, understanding the power of touch is about more than knowing where or how to make contact. It's about realizing that every gesture, every caress, and every moment of closeness carries emotional weight. When done with respect, patience, and empathy, touch becomes a form of healing, a way of saying you matter without words. That is what transforms an ordinary moment into one that lingers, a moment that leaves a lasting imprint, not just on the body, but on the heart and mind. The connection between the mind and body is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood aspects of human intimacy. Many people assume that desire and satisfaction are purely physical responses, but in truth, the brain is where everything begins. Every sensation, every shiver, every pulse of pleasure starts as an electrical signal processed through the mind. When the mind is relaxed, present, and emotionally engaged, the body naturally follows. But when it is distracted, anxious, or disconnected, even the most passionate physical experience can feel hollow. This is why emotional presence during intimacy is far more powerful than any technique. The ability to focus, to stay fully in the moment, and to connect with your partner's energy creates an experience that is not only more pleasurable, but deeply bonding. The brain is the largest sexual organ, and it dictates how the body reacts to touch and stimulation. When someone feels desired, appreciated, and safe, the brain releases dopamine, which fuels excitement and motivation, and oxytocin, which enhances connection. These chemicals create a feedback loop where emotional closeness heightens physical pleasure and physical closeness reinforces emotional trust. This is why intimacy is not just about what happens between two bodies, but what happens within two minds. The way you look at your partner, the tone of your voice, the confidence and care behind your actions, all of it communicates signals that the body interprets as attraction, love, or comfort. When the mind and body are aligned, intimacy becomes effortless. You are not performing or trying to achieve a certain reaction. You are experiencing each moment as it unfolds. The nervous system relaxes, the muscles release tension, and every sense becomes heightened. That synchronization allows the smallest gestures, a breath, a touch, a whisper, to feel amplified and meaningful. The body becomes more sensitive, not because of technique, but because the mind has allowed itself to be vulnerable and connected. This is what transforms physical intimacy into something almost spiritual, a merging of awareness and sensation. When the mind is burdened by stress, shame, or performance pressure, it disrupts the body's natural rhythm. The fight or flight response takes over, blood flow decreases, and pleasure becomes difficult to sustain. This is why emotional and psychological wellness are inseparable from physical satisfaction. When you calm your mind, build self confidence, and communicate openly, you unlock the body's ability to respond fully. True intimacy begins when both people are mentally and emotionally attuned, when they listen, respond, and engage not out of habit, but out of genuine curiosity and connection. Understanding this balance is the key to lasting passion. The most memorable moments are not created by perfect movements, but by emotional resonance. When your partner feels seen, safe, and wanted, that mental connection tells the body it can let go and feel freely. When you cultivate awareness, patience, and empathy, you create a powerful link between mind and body that turns intimacy into art. It's this harmony, not the act itself, that makes an experience unforgettable and leaves a lasting imprint on both heart and body. Communication and responsiveness are the true foundations of intimacy. They transform physical interaction into emotional connection, turning what could be a simple act into a meaningful experience. Many people focus on what to do, when to do it, or how to do it, yet the real secret lies in how well you listen and respond. Intimacy isn't a script, it's a dialogue, not always spoken, but always felt. Every breath, movement, and reaction your partner gives is a message, and the ability to notice and adapt to those messages creates trust and chemistry far stronger than any technique ever could. When two people are connected, communication becomes effortless, even in silence. A slight change in breathing, a soft sound, a subtle shift in body language. These are cues that reveal comfort, desire, or hesitation. Responding to them with awareness shows emotional intelligence and care. It says, I'm here with you. I'm paying attention. That kind of presence is what makes intimacy powerful. When someone feels seen and understood in those moments, it builds a deep emotional bond that lasts far beyond the physical act itself. It's not just about giving pleasure, it's about creating safety and emotional resonance. This level of communication requires empathy. It's about being tuned in to what your partner needs, not just what you assume they want. It's the ability to slow down, to sense when to move closer or when to pause, to recognize when something feels right and when something needs reassurance. When you learn to connect on that level, you begin to understand that intimacy is not something you do to someone, it's something you share with them. Every gesture becomes mutual, every reaction becomes a response, and every touch becomes part of a continuous exchange of energy. Physiologically, this responsiveness has powerful effects. When both people feel emotionally and physically synchronized, the body produces oxytocin and dopamine at higher levels, deepening attachment and enhancing pleasure. The heart rate and breathing naturally align, creating a state of harmony that feels almost magnetic. It's in these moments that real passion emerges, not from intensity, but from presence. You no longer have to think about what comes next because your partner's cues guide you. This connection builds trust, and trust allows both people to fully let go. The truth is that communication in intimacy is not only verbal. Yes, speaking openly about preferences and boundaries is essential, but even more powerful is learning to communicate through presence, touch, and awareness. When your partner knows that you are listening, not with your ears, but with your attention, it creates a sense of safety and attraction that no amount of physical effort can replicate. That's what makes an experience memorable, even addictive. It's not about control or dominance, it's about connection and understanding. Being responsive is about creating balance, giving and receiving, leading and listening, feeling and adjusting. It's the art of being fully in tune with another human being. And when that alignment happens, the experience transcends the physical. It becomes emotional, immersive, and unforgettable. The kind of connection that doesn't just satisfy in the moment, but stays imprinted in the memory long after because it was built on true communication, mutual respect, and shared presence. Oxytocin and dopamine are the body's natural messengers of connection, pleasure, and emotional bonding, and understanding how they work is essential to understanding why touch and intimacy can feel so powerful. When two people connect physically or emotionally, their bodies begin to release a blend of the release neurochemicals that directly influence how they feel about each other. Oxytocin, often called the love hormone, fosters trust, empathy, and closeness. It's the same hormone released when people hug, hold hands, or comfort one another. Dopamine, on the other hand, is the reward chemical responsible for feelings of excitement, anticipation, and motivation. Together, these two create a neurological pattern that makes connection deeply satisfying and sometimes quite literally addictive. During moments of physical closeness, these chemicals flood the brain, reinforcing emotional attachment and pleasure. When oxytocin levels rise, stress hormones decrease, and the body moves into a state of calm and receptiveness. This is why gentle touch, warmth, or affection can immediately lower tension and make someone feel safe. That sense of safety is not just emotional, it's biological. The body associates the person providing that comfort with relief and relaxation, creating a feedback loop of trust and desire. Dopamine then adds the spark, the thrill that comes with attraction and pleasure. When the brain links that dopamine rush to a specific person, It strengthens the emotional bond even further, making the experience memorable and deeply personal. In the context of intimacy, this chemical interaction explains why certain moments feel unforgettable. The body learns to associate physical touch not just with pleasure, but with emotional fulfillment. Each experience strengthens those neural connections, making the bond more intense over time. This is why relationships that include both emotional closeness and physical connection tend to feel more satisfying. It's not simply about passion, it's about chemistry in the true sense of the word. The brain literally wires pleasure and connection together. What makes this process so meaningful is that it is mutual. When two people share intimacy, both experience this hormonal and emotional exchange. Their heart rates and breathing patterns can synchronize, and their brain waves can even align during moments of deep connection. This shared physiological response creates a sense of unity, as if two bodies and minds are operating in harmony. That harmony is the reason some connections feel magnetic and others do not. It's not just about attraction, it's about chemistry, timing, and emotional safety working together. It's important to recognize that this biological bonding also comes with responsibility. When you engage in physical closeness with someone, you are influencing their emotional state and your own. Oxytocin doesn't differentiate between love and temporary affection, it bonds regardless. This is why awareness and respect are crucial in intimacy. The power to trigger these chemicals in another person is also the power to create emotional attachment. And when handled with care, it can build lasting trust and joy. Understanding the role of oxytocin and dopamine allows people to approach intimacy not just as an act of pleasure, but as an exchange of emotion and energy. It highlights that the addiction to a partner's touch is not just psychological, but physiological. The body itself craves that connection because it feels rewarding and safe. This knowledge transforms how we view intimacy, reminding us that behind every heartbeat, every moment of closeness, and every rush of passion lies a beautiful, intricate chemistry designed to bring two people closer, both in body and in spirit. Emotional safety and aftercare are the cornerstones of meaningful intimacy, yet they are often the most overlooked. Many people think intimacy ends the moment the physical act is over, but in truth, what happens afterward determines how lasting and fulfilling the connection becomes. Emotional safety begins with how two people treat each other when the moment slows down, how they communicate, respond, and reassure one another. It's about creating a sense of calm and care that tells the body and mind you are valued, you are respected, and you are safe. When a partner feels this kind of safety, it doesn't just strengthen emotional bonds, it also teaches the nervous system to associate closeness with comfort and trust rather than anxiety or detachment. From a biological perspective, intimacy activates powerful emotional and hormonal responses. During physical connection, the body releases oxytocin, endorphins, and dopamine, chemicals that heighten closeness and joy. But as those levels naturally fall afterwards, some people can experience vulnerability or even a temporary emotional dip. This is completely normal, but it's where aftercare becomes essential. Aftercare, simple gestures like a gentle conversation, holding each other, or offering words of affirmation helps the body transition smoothly from high emotional arousal to calm. It tells the brain that the connection is safe, that it wasn't just physical, and that the emotional bond remains intact. Without this reassurance, the body can misinterpret the sudden drop in hormones as emotional rejection, leading to feelings of distance or insecurity. Emotional safety is built not through grand gestures, but through consistency and empathy. When a partner feels genuinely cared for, they can be more open, expressive, and trusting. This doesn't just improve emotional intimacy, it enhances physical intimacy too. The body relaxes more easily when it feels secure, allowing for deeper pleasure and more genuine connection. Safety and desire are not opposites, they are partners. The safer someone feels emotionally, the more willing they are to be vulnerable and present. That vulnerability is what allows real passion to emerge because it replaces fear with freedom. Communication plays a major role here as well. Checking in, listening, and offering reassurance create a cycle of trust that makes every future encounter more meaningful. Small acts, making eye contact, expressing gratitude, or simply staying close, speak louder than any performance. They say, "This moment mattered, and so do you." This approach to intimacy transforms it from an act of desire to an act of care. It acknowledges that pleasure is not just physical stimulation, but emotional connection, shared understanding, and the comfort of being seen. Emotional safety and aftercare are what make intimacy sustainable. They turn fleeting moments into lasting memories and transform passion into partnership. When someone feels emotionally held, not just physically touched, their mind and body associate that connection with warmth, joy, and security. That is what keeps them coming back, not out of dependency, but out of trust and fulfillment. True intimacy is not just about how deeply you connect in the moment, but how you make each other feel when it's over. When care extends beyond the act, love and connection continue to grow long after the lights fade, and that is where real addiction to closeness, the healthy humankind, is born. The real secret behind creating powerful, lasting intimacy lies not in any single position, movement, or technique, but in understanding the deeper layers of connection. The emotional, psychological, and biological harmony between two people. Touch, communication, chemistry, and emotional safety all weave together to create something that goes far beyond pleasure. They build trust, ignite desire, and form bonds that linger in both heart and memory. When you approach intimacy with awareness, care, and genuine attention, you transform it from a moment of passion into a moment of meaning. You make your partner feel seen, understood, and safe, and that is what makes an experience unforgettable. This isn't just about attraction, it's about presence. It's about learning to listen without words, to respond without pressure, and to care without expectation. Every gesture, every breath, every glance can become a language of love when expressed with intention and respect. That's what turns ordinary touch into something extraordinary, something that connects not just bodies, but souls. When you cultivate this kind of intimacy, you're not only deepening pleasure, you're strengthening emotional health, trust, and long term relationship satisfaction. To everyone watching, remember this: intimacy is not something to master, it's something to understand. It's an ongoing dance between two people who choose to show up with openness and respect. Never underestimate the power of empathy, patience, and curiosity. When you bring those qualities into the way you connect, you elevate the experience for both of you. Thank you for taking the time to learn, to reflect, and to grow. The fact that you're here shows that you care about connection in a meaningful way, and that already sets you apart. I wish you understanding, compassion, and confidence in every relationship you build. May you continue to discover new ways to connect deeply, love fully, and live with emotional and physical balance. Take care of yourself and those you love. And as always, thank you for watching and good luck on your journey toward better intimacy, stronger communication, and lasting connection.